like, do you even know if your kids want this business? This is right now we're in a time where we're talking about the boomers retiring and a lot of people don't want their parents' businesses. It's like, is that something that your kid actually wants to manage? Because if they don't, it's going to fall by the wayside like a lot of companies.
Welcome to Jobbers Masters of Home Service, a podcast for home service pros by home service pros. We are in sunny Las Vegas, and today we're talking about building generational wealth to secure your family's financial future. I'm Adam Sylvester. Today's guests are Anthony Hartzog and Janoka Hartzog. They're the owners of the Cleaning Business University, Maids to Match, and the hosts of More Than a Side Hustle podcast. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Glad you're here.
Excited to be here.
Yeah. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of building wealth, I do want you guys to share a bit of your journey into small business ownership, into entrepreneurship, how you guys got to where you are now.
Okay, starting point. So we live in Dallas, Texas, originally from Brooklyn, New York. We got married in 2016. And then in 2017, we decided we wanted to pay off debt because of my husband's crazy idea. So he's like, let's pay off debt. I'm like, why? What's the reason? But we started to pay off debt by side hustling, doing little jobs from Rover, where you watch dogs, to Turo, where you're renting out your car. And then we started a cleaning business during the time of paying off debt. We had no idea what we were doing. We just knew that it was something that we can possibly do and not have to be actually in the field, while still having our 9-to-5s, while still side hustling to pay off debt. So that's really how we ran into it, if you will. We didn't really have knowledge on the business as much as some may say you should, or even on entrepreneurship. But we took a bet on ourselves, and it worked out, basically.
Yeah. So we had $114,000 of debt, and after we just got married, I said, okay, we had more free time. Let's try to pay off this debt. I was listening to Dave Ramsey. That was one of my quote unquote, Dave Ramsey is a financial literacy.
Baby steps.
Yeah, and I said, babe, we could do this. There are people who make half the amount of money we have and who live in more expensive places. Let's just try to pay off this debt. And I think by the first 3 months of it, just doing those side hustles, Rover, Airbnb, Turo, things like that, we paid off like $12,000 of debt, budgeting, saving, managing our finances. I said, okay, let's put a goal to pay this off by her 30th birthday, which was in 23 months. And we got aggressive. And during that time, that's when we started the cleaning business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have all this debt. Was it school loans mostly? Was it
mostly her loans?
Okay, take it easy.
She had private student loans. Yeah.
Yes, I went to Hofstra private school for my master's. So it was mostly that, like 68,000 of it, of our 114 was the loans.
The reason I ask is because a lot of our listeners are in that same boat. You guys are not unique in that. A lot of our listeners have that same weight on their shoulders every morning they wake up, just that debt that just seemingly will never go away. And so you guys decided to chip away at it pretty aggressively, it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So once you guys started your business, were you still in Brooklyn?
No. When we started paying off debt, we were already in Dallas. So we got married like May 2016, moved to Dallas June 2016, like right away. And then we started paying everything off. If we were still in New York, I don't know that life would be what it is now, or would we be able to be as aggressive with paying things off. As you know, New York is more expensive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, why a cleaning business?
Yeah, so that was my idea.
So all of our ideas is his idea.
All of our ideas started when I was listening to a podcast. So I was listening to someone, and funny enough, we was on this podcast. I forgot the name of it. Side Hustle School, one of the first podcasts we were actually on, and there was a story about this kid who was using this cleaning business in college. He was helping, doing laundry and stuff like that, but he wasn't doing the laundry. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I want to know more about this. Could this apply to residential cleaning? He's like, absolutely. So we took a shot on ourselves and he said, we could find people who are, mom and pop shops who are willing to do the work. We can go out and find the jobs for them. And that's how we started it. Listen to a podcast.
Yeah, November 2017. That's when we started.
So then what? So you decide to go into the home service cleaning business. From what I know about you guys, you did not want to be in the field. I believe you never really were in the field. Is that right?
No,
for the most part. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you do that part? What model did you use?
Yeah.
So I think with him doing more research, but when he brought the idea to me, I said no. So then it left and he brought it back months later. And by the time he brought it back months later, he had more information and we got it up and running within 6 weeks. We both once he explained, like, we're not going in the field. I'm like, because I have a 9-to-5 and I'm not going to clean anyone's home.
And you still have a 9-to-5, right?
I still have a 9-to-5.
Okay.
Yes, he's been gone for 2.5 years, but I'm still there. So we decided we'll have to find people. We'll have to find people to do the job. Like he said, mom and pop shops, people that actually love to clean, and we will just handle the business side of it, the marketing, speaking to the customers, but they would just go out and do the actual jobs. And so that's where we started. We started with one person, two people, and then we started to grow from there. Have we had people that didn't show up? Absolutely. And we just had to pivot and try to figure it out, find someone else to do it. We just knew from the very beginning that we didn't want to do it, so we need to have people that are going to be able to do it for us to like officially launch, if you will.
And we found those people from like Facebook groups, Nextdoor.com, Indeed.com, and we were just literally every single night. I joined like 15 Craigslist. We joined like 15 Facebook groups a night, just finding people who were like, "Hey, I'm a cleaning business, or I'm a mom and pop shop." They wouldn't say mom and pop shop. They would say things like, "I'm a small cleaning company looking for more work." I said, "Okay, they're looking for more work. If we could find them more work, then we got something here." So I was reaching out to people during that time, sending them direct messages, private messages, getting them on the phone to find out if they were really interested in getting more work. Then after that, we talk about the hiring process and vetting and stuff like that. But those are the ways we found people at the very beginning.
Okay.
Now we do mainly Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Housekeeper.com. But it was really just us joining those groups and just reaching out to people every single night.
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like there's three models with this. There's in residential cleaning, there's employee, more traditional employees, all that kind of stuff. Then there's subcontractors. And then there's more of like just lead generation. You guys aren't just lead generation. You are a cleaning business with subcontractors. You're not just generating leads.
Correct.
Sounds like you're a company that provides cleaning service, and your subcontractors are mostly, for the most part, loyal to you guys. Is that generally speaking? I mean, they might do other work, but are you their biggest?
It really depends
source?
on the person. Most of them, we like people that have their own business and have their own clients.
Okay.
Because then you're just not relying on us, and that's truly what a contractor is. And then it also lets me know that you're serious and you do this, and this is not just a part-time thing. Like this is your full-time stuff. So a lot of our people have their own clients, and they work with other companies as well. But for them, I guess it really just depends on, how many jobs the companies are providing to us included, how they're treated. We've heard things like that too. Like sometimes other companies don't treat them as well. They don't get paid as they say they would. So things like that do come up for contractors or cleaners in general. So it's a fluctuation of working with us and other companies, but we're fine with that. With them.
What do you find matters most to these subcontractors?
I would say probably consistency and respect, specifically in this field. People in general kind of look down on cleaners in different places. And so that is something that they find difficult to come across if customers talk to them a certain way, or if another company talks to them a certain way, and then actually being paid when they said they're going to get paid.
Okay.
That's important too, because they find that some people don't do that, which is like, it seems very basic to us.
Yeah.
I know, it's insane, but people do take advantage.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then another thing is like, even when we had our daughter, it was like they were bringing us gifts, and they was like, "Oh, we know you guys just had a baby," stuff like that. So we're reaching out to them on Mother's Day, Christmas, holidays, just saying, "Hey, congratulations," knowing their birthdays, things like that. So those are little things we decided to add into our business, because even when we worked at our 9 to 5, we knew that those are things that we actually liked, and a lot of people don't translate their understandings of what they did at their 9 to 5 job to their actual businesses. So we didn't know how big those little things would go.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're creating, at least to some degree, a family atmosphere, even though they're just subcontractors, which is good.
I just, you don't want to be treated, treat people how you want to be treated, right?
Yeah.
So it's, you are helping my business in a way by you going out and cleaning. The least I can do is send a Merry Christmas text. Like that doesn't take anything from
It's a pretty
me.
low bar.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take anything from me to say, but it goes a long way. It just shows that they're not just another person there, but I definitely appreciate that.
And we've had people that's been with us 3, 4, 5 years, and others who just started. So it's going to take time to build up that relationship with those people. But the people who've been here, like, I'm ride or die for you guys, whatever you guys need. And we got one of our cleaners. She's been with us probably the longest, but she only does maybe a job of a month.
If that.
Okay.
But she's like, whenever if I need to drop something for you guys, I will. Yeah. And that's how we've been able to build that relationship with
Do
her.
they know each other?
Not really.
Some
Some
of
of
them
them do. Some of them have worked at other
Referrals.
companies, and then they referred off. So they're like, "Oh, over here you can do contract here," and some of them do, but not all of them.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Talking about building wealth and stuff. So you guys started this company. Seems like it took off.
Yeah.
The first day you guys were making millions of dollars.
Right.
And
not at all.
so the first year, so it was a little rocky.
Yeah.
Right. But then you start getting some momentum. You start having some more stability, and you get to the point where you have a pretty legit business. Right. When did you start doing the cleaning university? When that start?
So we started our business November 2017. Cleaning University started about July 2020.
Okay, and
So
what is
about
that
close
exactly?
to Cleaning Business University is where we teach our students exactly what we do. So
Okay.
running a remote cleaning business without having to go out and clean, basically.
Okay.
And most of our students still have a 9 to 5. This is their first time in entrepreneurship, very similar to us, and just wanting something more outside of the 9 to 5. Like, maybe they don't plan to leave their job. When we started, which is kind of different from people now, we just wanted to pay a bill. Like, let's get something that can pay a bill, a cable bill, a phone bill, something like that. And then eventually it built from there. A lot of people now are just like, well, I need $3,000 a month to do this. So it's a different ball game in that regard, but we teach them the same exact steps that we took to get to where we are now.
We started right when in March of 2020 was when the pandemic hit.
Right.
And we saw the same revenue drop as everyone else, but the thing was March 2020, we were back up in May of doing like $50,000, $60,000 a month at that time. And that's when we said, okay, we have something here that essentially could last the pandemic when everything is closed. And we started talking about it more on social media. So we were just, all we was doing, we were sharing our story from the very beginning, but we didn't know there was an interest in the cleaning business side of it. So we just started sharing, hey, you guys know we paid off debt by building this cleaning business, but here is how we did it with the cleaning business. And that's when we started the university side of things.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a great conversation. I'm gonna take a quick pause here to talk about Jobber, just how I view that Jobber is gonna help me build my business over the next 5 or 10 years. Jobber is constantly getting better. Jobber is a different software than I used 5 years ago. They're coming out with new features. They're coming out with better products and better tools. And so I think Jobber's mission is to support the small business owner for the next decade, 2-3 decades. And so automatic invoicing, online booking, AI, all those things are going to be there to help me build the next iteration of my business. New users can get an exclusive discount at jobber.com/podcast deal. Go get Jobber now. It'll help you build your business for the future. So a lot of people, once they have money, no matter how much it is, extra money, a lot of times they just spend it. They just increase their lifestyle. How would you advise our listeners, because there are a lot of successful business owners listening who have plenty of money, let's just say it that way. What should they do with it? What's the next step? What do you guys think? How would you say?
Well, I enjoy traveling, so that would be part of my list.
Have something that you spend on what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because the first step is getting out of debt. I mean, I want to highlight that. Like, the first step is getting out of debt. You guys got out of debt, and then what?
And then we built the business. So, we mentioned Dave Ramsey, but we did do things differently. Like, for him, he says, like, stop your 401k, don't invest. We were still doing those things while paying off debt. So we probably could have paid off debt quicker, but I was like, no, we're not stopping. We're not going that far. But, we invested. Once we got out of the debt, then we decided that we would do things we enjoy in regards to traveling. But then also with the business growing and things like that, we're like, we need to invest further. The things that doesn't require maybe us being there all the time. So we've gotten investment properties as well. We eventually bought a virtual assistant business that was managing cleaning businesses. We've since closed that down last year, but we had that for about 2.5, 3 years. And then we got our own home. So those are things that we continue to do. And then Cleaning Business University. So we always say that we feel like our 9 to 5 and this business has helped us to do all these things. It's not just one thing, has helped us to grow. But without the cleaning business, we wouldn't have everything else. We wouldn't even have considered property, because now it's like you said, we have this money. What do? We don't need to spend that much money. At the time, we didn't have any kids, so it's kind of like, it's just us. We don't need all this money. Let's invest it somewhere else that makes more sense. And so that's why we did the investment properties and so on.
Yeah.
And one of the things we did right after we realized that, so when we paid off the debt, that was the first step. And we were budgeting, obviously very important. Then we did our 6-month emergency fund. You build that up to a year. And then we said, okay, now we feel more comfortable. We feel more safe. Now we can have a little bit more play money. So that's when we were able to diversify. Like, we talked about rental property. So we started buying one property a year for the last, 3 years or so. So we have 3 rental properties. And then we bought our primary all before we said we're going to move into this primary home. So we were just doing those type of things where we said, if we're able to diversify our income and not just on things that, I guess the cleaning business for us was very entry level. It was very and then take up too many resources from us. So with the residential properties, we said we could just go and get a property manager, cash flow a couple hundred, things that we don't need right now, and just reinvest that money back into the business or into other real estate investments.
You guys, you mentioned budgeting, and that's kind of a bad word in a lot of people's lives. It's so hard to do.
It's a B word.
I do it to this day.
So tell me more about that, because here's the thing. You guys do everything together, it seems like. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you remind me of my parents. My parents worked side by side for 50 years. You know?
So you have amazing parents.
And a lot of people say, how do you do that? Oh my gosh. And it's been a beautiful thing. I really appreciate that. You guys do it very similarly, where you guys work together a lot. And so money is like the hardest thing statistically for couples to talk about. How do you guys manage those two things? Because you have an idea, she shoots it down, but then 6 months later comes back around and she says yes. And,
well, then he's learned.
Yeah,
you got to bring the right information.
You've learned how to roll it out. Just tell us a little bit about that dynamic and how you guys talk about money and budget and all that kind of stuff.
So the budgeting started when we started paying off debt, because we were not budgeting prior to that. We were always paying our bills on time and everything, but there never was a static budget of this is going there. And then you always say budgeting helps you. What do you say? It tells where your money where to go versus
budget allows you to tell yourself where your money is going, not how you have to spend it. So you're telling yourself where you want to spend your money, not the other way around.
Right.
So that's where people kind of get the budgeting misconception, where it's like, I'm limiting my money. No, you have more freedom with a budget. You just have to know exactly where your money is going.
Every dollar.
And so we, and that's what we use, by the way.
You use every dollar.
We use every dollar.
So you guys don't use credit cards?
So personally, no.
Yeah.
Personally, no.
No credit cards.
Business
Cool.
side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Business side, yeah.
We stopped credit cards when we were paying off debt.
Okay.
I mean, that was, once again, his idea.
I was like, no credit cards, no.
He's like, points are not. Like, most of society, they say they're going for points. It's not really happening. But either way. So we were budgeting basically for everything. And I think that's what people don't do. Like, we budgeted for brunches, for Uber, like everything fun, along with everything else that we needed to pay as well. And what it really showed us was how much money we really had left over to put towards that. So we truly enjoy the budgeting and having those conversations. We have family meetings once a month. When we were paying off debt, it was a bit more frequently. But the family meetings consist of budget, job, business, personal, family, spirituality, like all of that.
What does that mean, a family meeting? You guys go out to dinner, you stay home, you put the kid down? Like, how do you guys do it?
It depends.
It really depends.
So the family meeting, sometimes when we do we do a yearly planning meeting, and this is us leaving the house. This is the first time we left the house. We went to a workshop. We had a whiteboard, and we was in there for four hours or so.
Yeah.
And we were literally writing down, like you said, family, fitness, finances, freedom. Where do you want to travel? She's a huge traveler.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
I'll go with you. But
It's like, cool, whatever. So that's what that looks like that's a yearly basis. And then we'll break down our goals in quarters. So we're like, all right, this is our quarter sprint. Where do we want the business to go? Whether it's revenue, whether it's more teams, whether it's expansion, whether it's the university, whether it's the podcast. And we break it down in that way. And then also on the monthly level, it might just be a dinner. It might be dinner conversations at home, or we might go out to a restaurant. Yeah. The problem is we don't want to put our date nights the same time we're doing the family planning, because
it's not a date.
If I could do it, every date night would be a family planning meeting. But
it's hard to turn it off, isn't it?
It's hard to turn off. That's one of our challenges to it. That's my challenge. It's kind of hard to turn off the business sometimes, because like I'm always thinking about it. I'm always thinking about other ways we can improve things. She's like, Anthony, chill out. Let's just take it easy today. So.
If Masters of Home Service has been a game changer for you and your business, then we want to hear from you. Go leave us a review and tell us what you think. Help us build this community and level up together. Well, I think all this is pretty foundational to building wealth, budgeting, talking about money. I mean, that's so basic, but it's so hard for so many people. And so just talking about it monthly on a regular basis, budgeting. I'm glad that you guys got specific and used every dollar. You built the habit over the couple of years of getting out of debt. Now you just keep doing it. So let's roll the hands of time ahead a little bit. And you guys are a little bit older. Your kids are older. What does life look like for you then in terms of what do you have to do between in the next 20 years to make sure that your money's still around, that it's grown, and that it's in good hands?
I would say continuing to diversify and invest is important. I mean, our child, she's only 2 at this point, so she doesn't have much to say. But I think when she grows up and she can see a podcast that we spoke about certain things and we're able to bring her into the business in that regard, maybe it's simply just sitting in on those meetings at some point that we do with our team. And those type of things will be important for her to get involved as much as she would like. So it's a slippery slope, because it's like, I don't necessarily want to force you, but I do want to show you like expose you to something else. Like, growing up, I was just exposed to school and that's it.
Right.
But maybe if I was exposed to something else, I would be interested in something else. So that would be very important for us to keep the family business going as much as we can. But at the same time, if we reach to a point and our children are like, yeah, we don't want it, then figuring out what do we do with that? Even be having them process with the selling process if we get to that. So that would be important for us at this point.
And one of the things Janoka did with Alani when she was born, she's like, we're going to do a bank account for her. So before she was born, we had our family donating gifts and things like that. And we said, we don't want any gifts. We want you guys to give us money for her college fund before she was even born. So we just really recently opened up her Roth IRA. And then also she's on our business, not the cleaning business side of things, but she's more on the content creation side of things as, what's her title technically?
She's a junior brand ambassador.
Junior brand ambassador.
Yeah, I mean, we use her for content. I mean, she's in the content.
So she has a Roth IRA. She's one of our employees of our business, so she gets paid every single week. And then also she has a 529, super important. She has, I don't know, like $20,000 in there.
Investment account as well.
She has an investment account. So we were very intentional about her from the very beginning before she was born. And one of the things that her grandfather did was, she's like, I don't know when you guys are going to have kids, but here's $1,000. Before she was even born, we took that and put it into her bank account and then eventually started paying her from that bank account as well. So those are things that we're doing. So we know by the time she's 18, we've already done the numbers. By the time she's 18, she's going to have, I think it was $275,000, and that's just 18 if we don't invest anything else. But we said by the time she's 31, she will have $1.7 million just from everything. If we continue to contribute the way we're doing now, that's how much she would have. And then we didn't even talk about if she decides to contribute. So those are things we're doing. But then
not
also,
to mention if your parents decide to add stuff in during
They
her
do.
birthdays and stuff, and
They do.
instead of giving her some silly little
So
gift.
that's
right?
another thing. When we have birthdays or christenings and Christmas, we send this link. I'm like, I don't need any more toys. I promise you, I get it from
We have
Amazon
toys.
for $13 every other week. I don't
what's
need
the
any
name
more
of the
toys.
link? Registrygift.com or something like that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
essentially, you sending people the gift so that they don't have
link,
to link, and they could just donate to whatever you say, your college fund, your honeymoon fund, whatever. But every single birthday, we've done that over the last 2 years for her.
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned Roth IRAs. Roth IRAs are just it's money that's already been taxed. You put in this account, and then when you take it out, you don't pay any taxes on it. So it grows tax free, which is really tremendous.
And there's limits for kids. Like this year, I think it's like $7,000. Yeah, limit. So
529s are great. 529s are even expanding, so you don't even have to
Only do
go to
college.
college anymore.
Right,
It's
exactly.
becoming more open-minded.
And then also things like now people are doing more educational workshops. So you use that money for a course or workshops,
trade
conference,
school.
education. It doesn't have to be traditional colleges as well.
Yeah.
Totally. So I like some of these investment vehicles are great. And let's go back to the business side of things in terms of your kids potentially taking over, so to speak. I mean, your kids could start working the business like actively when they're 10 or maybe even younger. How does, and you guys are, you're young and your kids are young, and so you haven't done this yet, but your plan is to have your kids be a part of the family business.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then they can make their own decision, right? Is that kind of what you're...
Yeah, we've had one of my good friends up in New York. He said, I think his kids was like 10 or 11. He started having them answer the phones, answer emails for customer service things. He's like, they're way better on the computer and digital aspect than I am at my age. And he started having them do things like that. And we know by the time Alani's at that age, she'll be well beyond our understanding.
What we knew.
Yeah, everything that we know.
Yeah.
So those are things that you can have at a very early age, having your kids a part of your business. So having them do the emails, customer service, phone calls at times, outgoing, lead generation. Especially lead generation. You could have your kids take a course today on lead generation, and now they understand Facebook ads, they understand Instagram ads or YouTube, things like that. So those are tangible assets that they could give.
I think my oldest son is 7 right now, and I just can't wait for the day where I can give him a list of clients that we served 5 years ago and say, Jackson, call all these people. I'll give you $5 for every single one you book. And just teach him a commission concept where the more successful you are, the more money you make.
Yeah.
Because I remember picking up sticks in the yard. I
used to shovel snow.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather have made dials. So, any other ideas for your kids? Because you have another one on the way. How do you envision the business evolving over the next 10 or 15 years?
So the business, I would say, like right now, we don't really focus a lot on commercial cleaning. I think we probably would move into that, doing a lot of commercial cleaning, which would include residential apartment buildings, those type of stuff. And we're always looking at different ways that we could market. Generally we do, like you said, the Googles and Yelps. But can we get on a radio station? Can we be on a commercial? Can we, send cards in the mail? So we're always pivoting and trying to figure out what else we can do to remain relevant in the field and to stay in front of different eyes. Because people always say, is the market oversaturated? I see this many cleaning businesses. I'm like, well, there may be 2 million people in Dallas. If you see 40 cleaning businesses, no way. There's way more people than cleaning businesses.
Yeah.
So that's not a concern of ours, but how do we still remain relevant is a constant thing that we have conversation with our teams and for ourselves as well as we continue to grow. So I would say probably commercial side of things would be something that we'll get into over time.
And then also, if we really want to turn it into a family-owned business, I think at some point you have to put your face on the business. That's something that we got to be mindful of. If you really want to have a family-owned business, at some point people have to know who the family is.
Yeah.
So
Who's in charge here? Who's the face?
Yeah. So at some point, if we really want to turn it into a family business where we're having our daughter really involved at that level, we have to make that decision on, all right, do we want to become the face of this business where we know that this is our brand, this is our face, this is our likeness, this is our family.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. In terms of transferring the business over, and this is a long time from now, but you guys are already thinking about this. It helps having her on the business as an account holder already, especially at the bank, you know, like all these things. How are you planning on transferring the business over to her so you don't get crushed in taxes and wealth tax, all that kind of stuff? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so our business is actually in our trust as well. So super important for us. That's one of the first things we did. We didn't know anything about this as well. So one of the first things they said is have all your businesses inside your trust. So, and then she's also a stakeholder as well inside the trust. So it's actually her and Janoka's mom as well. So just in case something does happen to us. Another thing is like, do you even know if your kids want this business? This is right now we're in a time where we're talking about the boomers retiring and a lot of people don't want their parents' businesses. It's like, is that something that your kid actually wants to manage? Because if they don't, it's going to fall by the wayside like a lot of companies. So I think those are some of the most important things we did at the very beginning to make sure that if this does happen, we know the transfer of events and she will be one of the stakeholders as well.
Yeah. I was going to say there's the trust part of it is what has helped us to feel comfortable to know that, okay, if something happens, she would have control over it, if anything.
Yeah.
So
Last thought here. I want your tips on for our listeners here. So a lot of our listeners are starting their business. They might be in debt. They might just have a lot of things against them. How would you advise them to like have both getting out of the grind of potentially debt or just the beginning, just the hardship of the first year, while also having their mindset on like the future and building wealth? How would you talk to that person?
ooh, that's a full one. But
How can
to
they start a solid foundation?
Yeah, to start, mindset is a big thing, I think, right? So I would say the only reason we've had a mindset shift was through information that he's obtained from podcasts that he's listened to. Really, that's really all of our conversations. I was listening to a podcast, and that's how it starts. The information, yeah, and so the information that he's gotten has helped us to change the way that we envision or see life, right? Because the biggest thing is you don't know what you don't know. That sounds basic, but it really is true. So I think with you getting information or coaching or seeing other people helps to put you in a different place and know that I can do all these things or this one thing or whatever the case may be, paying off debt. If we weren't listening to the success stories of Dave Ramsey's people, I would say like, this is crazy. Like, why are we even starting this? But hearing those stories made me believe, well, maybe I can, I don't know. So podcasts like this, or it just gives you hope, or shows or anything gives you hope. And I think the mindset shift is the biggest thing with entrepreneurship, with business, things like that. For example, when it comes to marketing, we try to tell our students like marketing is you always say marketing investment, not an expense. Because if you don't market, how is anybody going to know that you exist? Right. But most people are like, well, it's a lot of money coming out. It's like, well, you need that because how is someone going to find you? So that mindset
build your
shift.
business or not? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, Target emails me 3 times a day. They have to be $1 billion company, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they don't stop marketing and commercials and so on and so forth. But that mindset shift, I think, is the beginning of everything for everyone. And it doesn't happen overnight. It is a gradual change. But mindset would be my biggest thing with paying off the debt and even starting a business and understanding, business has its ups and downs. I think a lot of businesses, even a business like this, can appear easy to people because I'm not physically doing the cleaning. But realistically, a business is a business. There's ups and downs too. So understanding that part of it is just as important when you're getting into something. So,
and since you said mindset, I'll just say mastermind. Mastermind with like-minded individuals, people who are where you are, but then also people who are above and beyond where you want to be. And it doesn't have to just be cleaning business owners. It could be window. It could be whatever local service business, or it doesn't even have to be the local service industry. It could be people who are doing other things. So you can say, oh, whoa, never thought about teaching people what I'm doing, because you wouldn't kind of get that in certain industries. So I would say masterminding with like-minded individuals, people who are, which is why we have our community, people who are, where we were, but then people who are beyond us. So those are probably the two most important things I would say.
Guys, this was great. I'm going to boil it down to 3 actionable steps here. Number 1 is get out of debt. If you want to build wealth, the first step is to get out of debt. Number 2 is involve your kids, put them on payroll, and involve your kids in the business. Number 3 is put your business in a trust and make sure your kids are in that trust. Guys, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for
guys
having
us.
How do people find out more about you?
Ooh, okay. So you can find us on Instagram or even on YouTube at The Hartrimony, and I'll spell that as TheHartrimony. That's a play on our last name in matrimony. It was our wedding hashtag, and now it's our brand. Also, our podcast, More Than a Side Hustle Podcast. You can find us there as well. So Instagram, YouTube, and our podcast.
Yes. Appreciate you guys for having us.
Yeah. Well, you guys are killing it. You're very inspiring. Your team and your family and just everyone who touches you are really blessed. Your students. So keep it up. I really appreciate the impact you guys are having.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah.
And thank you for listening. I hope you heard something that will make your business more profitable and more efficient and more financially secure. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester. You can find me at adamsylvester.com. Your team and your clients deserve your very best, so go give it to them.